Anatomy and physiology of Ayurveda, the 5 subdoshas. The theory of subdoshas is important in more deeply understanding each one of the 3 doshas, vata, pitta, and kapha. In this lesson, you're going to gain a deeper understanding and more complete understanding of how each of these 3 doshas functions in your mind and body. The 3 doshas can further be categorized into 5 subdoshas. Each of these subdoshas has its own function and specific or respective site or structure within the body. First, let's consider vata. As you remember and can recall, vata is the governor of all movements in the body. It controls the nervous system and the impulses of electricity traveling through it. Vata is your breath, your life force. It's the source of inspiration and respiration. The primary seat of vata is the colon. Vata's preferred sites are the thighs, your lower abdomen, your hips, your pelvic cavity, your ears, bones, hair, and your skin. You're going to learn a little bit more about why this is as I keep going. Vata is divided into 5 subcategories, and these are prana, udana, samana, apana, and vyana. Pranavayu is the primary vata or vayu. The word vayu is a synonym for vata, and it's often used when describing the 5 subtypes. The Sanskrit language is very vibrational and poetic, and it feels the words. Vayu sounds more poetic and rhythmic than vata. Compare the sounds. Pranavata versus pranavayu. Vayu is just more harmonious, and this is one of the reasons why they use vayu. Don't confuse this prana that we're talking about today with the great or mahaprana we talked about in previous lessons. This prana is a part of the grand prana, but the prana we're about to cover next is a subtype. It's a smaller aspect of prana or vata as a whole. Pranavayu. The seat of prana is in the heart, and the primary sites of pranavayu are in the brain and the head. Pranavayu energizes the mind and body through our breath, our life force, and through the cosmic breath of creation. Pranavayu is the union of the breath of Creator and our own breath. Pranavayu inspires wisdom, knowledge, and deeper states of awareness and consciousness. This is one of the reasons why we do pranayama, as we discussed before. This is the vayu yoga asana aims to control and direct. All vayus are born from pranavayu. Pranavayu moves downward and inward to the chest, and it governs our inhalation, our swallowing, and natural urges such as sneezing and burping. Prana controls the mind, our sense organs, our intellect, our heart, and consciousness. Symptoms of pranavayu imbalance are heart palpitations, anxiety, ADD, nervousness, lack of focus, fear, anger, asthma, hiccups, and other respiratory disorders. You can also see things like paralysis, stroke, seizures, grand mal epilepsy, nervous system disorders like tremors and Parkinson's can also be observed. Remember that pranavayu is connected to all movements in the body, just like all of the other vayus. But this vayu is specifically concentrated in the head and neck and brain region. Next, we're going to look at udana. Udana is responsible for exhalation, speech, and self-expression. Udana vayu gives vocal power, vocal range for singers especially, and it's the power of oration to speakers. So when udana is balanced and strong, you tend to be a great communicator and great speaker. Udana is the power of speech and also controller of speech. Haven't you ever heard the saying, silence is golden? Many spiritual traditions remind us to practice caution with our words because they hold tremendous power, and this is the power of Udana Vayu. Proverbs tells us, the more talk, the less truth. The wise measure their words. Sages around the world talk about how silence is golden. It isn't necessary to tell a wise man to hold his tongue. It's also been said that silence is a protection for wisdom. Udana is the vayu that strengthens our memory. It cultivates willpower and inner strength. Balanced Udana gives you focus, direction, drive, and the effort to accomplish our creative endeavors. Without a balanced Udana, creativity and expression is going to be limited. Pranayama and practicing conscious inhales and exhales, specifically complete exhales, supports Udana Vayu, because Udana Vayu is the breath out. Some practices that help you balance Udana Vayu: speak less, listen or hear more. There's also a practice in Indian spiritual tradition called Mona, or taking a vow of silence. My spiritual teacher, she's taken a vow of silence for over 20 years to deepen her spiritual practice, and she serves as an example to demonstrate the immeasurable benefits of silence. It develops introspection, wisdom, and it cultivates your own inner strength and power. If you're wondering how she communicated with us, she used a slate to communicate through writing. When you control your speech, you have time to think about what you're going to say as opposed to speaking unnecessarily. Udana Vayu is responsible for memories, both present and past, and it's also said to recollect our past journeys through time and space. This is fascinating to consider, especially when we connect Ayurvedic wisdom with Native American spiritual healing, and specifically with the plant medicine ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is a spiritual medicine used in Native American traditional healing, and it gives deeper insights, visions, healing, and understanding. It's fascinating even further because a common physiological symptom of taking ayahuasca is that it induces an urge to vomit, and nothing comes out, but there's just a sensation to purge or exhale out. I have a personal experience with ayahuasca and taking this medicine in spiritual ceremony with shamans, and I'm offering this experiential wisdom through my personal observation and experience with Ayurveda, meditation, sitting in silence for 10 days, and also taking part in ayahuasca spiritual ceremonies. So during these ceremonies, oftentimes when that urge to purge or that strong flow of Udana comes, I almost felt like there were deep-seated memories that also came up. It's beyond powerful, ayahuasca and Ayurveda. And when we combine these wisdoms, we have so much to understand, so much to gain. There's such a deep correlation between Native American healing and also Ayurveda. So Udana is that Vayu, which is connected to deep-seated memories, especially memories that cross lifetimes. And when you take a medicine like ayahuasca, oftentimes you will have this urge to vomit, and again, sometimes nothing physical comes out, but through that process you almost purge out energetically memories that may not serve you any longer, and also memories that teach you about your past history and your past lifetimes. I've had deep spiritual experiences in meditation where I was fasting, and I've also had deep spiritual experiences fasting while on ayahuasca. We're so lucky that we live in a time where so many wise traditions are meeting, uniting, and we have the opportunity to learn from one another. Just in this course, we have people of Jewish faith. We have people who are shamans, Rastafarians, Hindus, Christians, Muslims, yogis, and some people that just believe in energy and love. And Udana is that air which carries prana, life force, upward, and it liberates our consciousness to understand that we are all connected. We can see imbalance of Udana as poor memory, poor decision making, depression, disconnection from the cosmos, the creator. We can also see Udana Vayu being imbalanced through discoloration of the skin due to poor oxygenation. Excess speech can also be seen. Sometimes there's a difficulty speaking or projecting your voice. There's weak willpower or inability to speak your truth or make a demand or command something or will something to come into existence. Other things that you can see on a physiological level is that you can see various bronchial conditions such as asthma, hoarseness of voice, or even pneumonia. Next, we have Samana Vayu. Samana Vayu is the air that flows through our digestive system and our intestinal tract. The primary seat of Samana Vayu is the small intestines. Samana is associated with the element fire, and therefore it's going to govern functions related to transformation or metabolism. So even though Samana Vayu is one of the 5 subtypes of Vata, it's associated with the element of fire at a subtle level. Samana Vayu is related to Agni, our digestive fire, as it fans the digestive fire. You need air to fan a fire, a campfire, and in the same way we need air to stimulate and ignite our own digestive fire. So Samana Vayu is like that wind, that air, that breeze that blows over a campfire, but in our digestive system. It allows for the movement of digestive enzymes, digestive secretions. All movements of these secretions are because of Samana Vayu. So Samana Vayu stimulates all secretions of digestive juices. Samana Vayu also communicates the signal of hunger to our brain, and it assists us in metabolism. On a psychological level, Samana Vayu promotes the digestion and assimilation of our mental and our spiritual and life experiences. Just like Pitta, the fire of transformation has that power. Samana Vayu, with the element of fire, it helps us to maintain balance and equilibrium throughout our body and mind, and allows us to digest our experiences. You can see imbalances in Samana Vayu, and they would look like loss of appetite, indigestion, malabsorption. There's not going to be enough digestive power, and also constipation, diarrhea, and bloating. Some imbalances in Samana Vayu include loss of appetite, so there's no communication between the body saying I'm hungry going back to the brain, so that movement of communication is lost. Indigestion, malabsorption, constipation, the complete lack of movement, diarrhea, too much movement, gas and bloating, too much gas in the abdominal cavity can be related to an imbalance of Samana Vayu. Apana Vayu is the downward moving air, and it's located primarily in the colon and pelvic cavity. You may have heard of Apana Vayu in yoga, and they have slightly different function in Ayurveda, but they are the same and related. Apana Vayu is also present in the urinary tract and the cervix in a woman, and the testes, prostate of a man. And it's going to govern all downward moving impulses such as urination, eliminating waste, flatulence, removing gas from the body, menstruation, and ejaculation and ovulation. These are all going to be governed by Apana Vayu. The governing element for Apana Vayu is earth. Apana is connected to earthy qualities that sustain our physical existence. Apana Vayu produces the contractions to move the baby out of the womb during labor. Remember, Vayu, Vata, governs movement. So Apana Vayu is the downward moving Vata, Vayu, and it regulates ovulation, libido, and even our sexual desire. On a psychological level, Apana Vayu is going to allow you to release and let go of all things that don't serve you and allow for the new to come in. Letting go is the function of Apana Vayu, and this brings us freedom, rejuvenation, and renewal. Imbalances in Apana Vayu include constipation, again, that downward movement is stopped, diarrhea, retention of urine, irregular menstruation, pain during sex, pain during urination, lower back pain. Remember, this is the area of Vata. Premature ejaculation, erectile dysfunction. So an imbalance in Apana Vayu will show up as imbalances or dysfunctions in all outward flowing movements. Anything that is moving outside of our body or flowing out to extremities is going to show up as Apana Vayu. Vyana Vayu is distributed throughout the body and the heart. It governs cardiovascular system, and it supports the circulation and oxygenation of our blood and the transportation of nutrients. Again, Vyana Vayu is the Vayu or the Vata that governs movement throughout the body. So it takes nutrition, blood to our cells, our tissues. Vyana Vayu is governed by the element water. And like water, Vyana Vayu flows throughout the body, and it's going to nourish all the tissues throughout the body. Vyana Vayu moves in a circular direction, and it's going to be present throughout our circulatory channels. Vyana Vayu also plays a role in the reflexive movements and actions that we have, such as blinking, yawning, and also motor control, such as throwing a ball or running. Think of Vyana Vayu moving throughout our body and spreading out throughout our body. Vyana Vayu plays a role in eye-hand coordination in sports specifically. So these are the 5 subtypes of Vata. Now let's move on to the 5 subtypes of Pitta. Remember that Pitta governs all transformations in the mind and body. First, let's start off with Pachaka Pitta. Pachaka Pitta is located in the stomach and the small intestines, and it's responsible for digestion. In Sanskrit, the root pach means to digest, to absorb, to metabolize and assimilate. In my language, Gujarati, this root word is also used for digestion, and you say Pachan Shakti when someone has really strong digestion. Imbalances with Pachaka Pitta are going to result in imbalances in our ability to digest. So you'll see things like hyperacidity, sugar cravings, peptic ulcers, too much fire and burning through our stomach lining. And also you can see things like indigestion. Ranjaka Pitta is located in the stomach as intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factor is produced by the parietal cells in our stomach as well as the salivary glands. And intrinsic factor is very important in energy production, in digestion, in metabolism, and specifically for our mental health, because it helps to produce vitamin B12. Many people have a deficiency in vitamin B12, and it plays a key role in DNA synthesis and formation, in red blood cell creation and brain function. People who are vegetarian need to make sure they're getting enough B12 from the foods that they eat, and if you have digestive imbalances, you want to make sure that you're taking digestives that support Ranjaka Pitta and support Pachaka Pitta and the fire in your digestive system, so that you can properly digest and assimilate everything that you eat and also absorb the nutrients from the food that you eat. Ranjaka Pitta is very important in absorbing B12 from the food that you eat, and it also helps to produce oxygen-carrying red blood cells. And people who have digestive issues tend to also be anemic because they're not producing these red blood cells that are needed because of B12 deficiencies. Ranjaka Pitta also gives color to the skin, the hair, the eyes. If you've ever seen anyone who's anemic, they lack Ranjaka Pitta, and their color of their skin is often pale or extremely dull. Ranjaka Pitta is responsible for the production of bile. Bile is that greenish brown fluid that is secreted from the liver and stored in the gallbladder, and it aids in digestion, and it's secreted to help you metabolize and digest the food that you eat. Ranjaka Pitta is located in the liver, and it's so important. This organ is extremely important. You cannot live without your liver. The liver supports digestion of fats, detoxification, blood formation, and so many other vital metabolic processes in the body. On an energetic level, the liver is the seat of anger, of hate, of envy, of jealousy, of bitterness. Emotions are metabolized through mindfulness and awareness of that emotion. And when we suppress these emotions like anger, they can store up and cause dysfunction of the liver. Meditation is great to also practice because it gives you an opportunity to give attention to your emotions and to these feelings and allow them to be processed by the Agni or the Ranjaka Pitta of the liver. Suppressing emotions is going to create stress and accumulations. And another great practice is to process anger through Sitali Pranayama. We talked about Sitali Pranayama in the lesson about prana. So you can practice the cooling breath to release that anger, release that frustration, release whatever emotion is causing you to heat up. You can bring awareness through it through meditation, through pranayama breathing, through just mindfulness and observing that emotion. So these are some ways that you can process emotions that may cause dysfunction to Ranjaka Pitta. Haven't you ever seen when someone gets very upset, Ranjaka Pitta is going to fire up and skin will turn red. Some imbalances with Ranjaka Pitta will be anemia, jaundice, liver and gallbladder conditions, all types of them, chronic fatigue, and also gallstones. Sadhaka Pitta is located in the brain and in our heart. This Pitta governs memory retention, cognitive function, intelligence, and all cerebral functions and higher mental faculties. Sadhaka Pitta can be compared to, you can say, neurotransmitters, which are chemical messengers which transmit signals from one neuron to another, from one brain cell to another. This is Sadhaka Pitta. Sadhaka Pitta transforms outer sounds. So if you hear birds chirping, there's going to be a nerve impulse which is processed and translated into a significant meaning. In an instant, just like that, you're going to understand and comprehend that this chirping sound is a bird. This is Sadhaka Pitta transforming the sound into an understanding. Sadhaka Pitta is located also in the heart, and it helps to foster compassion, humility, spiritual discernment, understanding, and that right knowledge. Alochika Pitta is located in our eyes, and it's responsible for vision, eye color, luster, and there are actually enzymes in the eyes, just like there are enzymes in our digestive system. So remember, Pitta, Alochika Pitta, it's transformation. And these enzymes protect the eyes from microorganisms, and they transform the light and images we see outside into actual form. Alochika Pitta also prevents infections. It maintains the homeostasis of the entire eye organ and maintains a proper nourishment and nutrient circulation in our eyes. Alochika Pitta also ensures that our eyes have proper nourishment and the proper nutrients reach the deepest layers of our eyes. When we look at the eyes from a spiritual and emotional level, the eyes represent our inner vision, mental clarity, and our emotions. Think about how when you feel sad, angry, and you're in a state of bliss, when you cry, sometimes you cry if you're sad or angry or even happy, it releases tears from the eyes. And these tears are Alochika Pitta. And it's said that these tears shift in chemical structure depending on if we're sad or if we're happy. Alochika Pitta is the governing Pitta responsible for these tears. This transformation of emotions into tears. Humans have mirror neurons. Many animals actually have mirror neurons. Mirror neurons fire when we observe an action or a facial expression of another. So we can instantly understand and feel the emotions of someone by their facial expression. If they're crying or if they're suffering, we almost mirror that behavior. These mirror neurons are connected to both Alochika Pitta and Sadhaka Pitta. And this Pitta helps us to transform and understand and have empathy for another person. So when we see, when we observe, when we perceive somebody in a state, we are instantly able to understand their condition, their state, and where they are. And Alochikapitta allows for that connection. Imbalances in Alochikapitta are glaucoma, all eye infections, light sensitivity, night blindness. Night blindness is often caused by a lack of vitamin A, and people who have digestive disturbances that do not process vitamins or are not absorbing the nutrition that they're taking in can have a lack of vitamin A, so this can cause things like nighttime blindness. On a spiritual and psychological level, imbalances with Alochikapitta can be related to not perceiving the truth or seeing something that is truthful but not believing it. So you're seeing untruths. Brajakapitta is located on the skin, and it gives us color, texture, temperature, and it gives luster to our skin. Brajakapitta makes the skin glow, and it maintains our moisture. The skin is our largest breathing organ, and it's our first defense against pathogens, bacteria, and infections. Brajakapitta is that first layer of protection. It gives health to the skin, and it also bolsters our immune system, our immune function, by being the first line of defense. Brajakapitta is also related to emotions. As we just talked about, when someone is angry, we can almost instantly see that fire or that flare up in their face. People who are chronically stressed often have skin conditions as well. So this stress, this emotional imbalance can show up in Brajakapitta in their skin as eczema, acne, psoriasis. One of the reasons why Ayurveda recommends daily self-massages is to balance Brajakapitta. And Brajakapitta is the pitta that allows for the oils to penetrate through the skin tissues, through deeper tissues, and all the way to connective tissues and the bone. Brajakapitta allows for this transformation. Almost all skin conditions are due to an imbalance in Brajakapitta. Balancing pitta, digestion, and also various external treatments to help to balance Brajakapitta are beneficial to people who have any type of skin condition. But again, we have to look at all of the pittas. We have to look at Ranjakapitta in the liver. We have to look at Pachakapitta, or that power of digestion. One of the reasons why we're talking about all 5 of these subdoshas, these subtypes, is so we can understand the functioning of all the doshas. So when we see Pitta is located in the brain, in the liver, in the skin, in the eyes, we will often see that there's a cluster of imbalances. For example, when somebody has chronic inflammation, they may have chronic eye infections. They may have conditions with their liver. They may be anemic. They may also have skin conditions. They may also be quick to anger. So you see how things can come in clusters? We cover these subdoshas so we can understand how they function in various parts of the body, and when we see an imbalance in us, we can understand where this imbalance, which dosha this imbalance is arising from. Now let's move on to kapha and its subtypes. Kapha is the combination of earth and water, and its primary function is to hold things together to create structure and stability. Kledika kapha is located in the gastrointestinal tract and in our stomach, so in our intestines and in our stomach. Kledika kapha is the water that moistens and liquefies the food that we eat. It also helps to have healthy mucus secretions, and this is Kledika kapha's function, because healthy mucus secretions protects the gastric lining of our stomach and intestines. When Kledika kapha is disturbed by high stress or overeating spicy foods or processed foods, it can cause things like ulcers or inflammation in the gut, which is an epidemic across the world because of the processed foods we take in. Kledika kapha can be correlated with the navel chakra or willpower and all digestive functions. Avalambaka kapha is located in the lungs. the heart, and the pleural cavities. Avalambaka kapha lubricates the respiratory tract, and it's going to support the expansion and contraction of our lungs through this lubrication. It also helps with the permeability of the alveoli. It helps with cellular respiration. It helps us breathe. It supports the exchange of gases in respiration. It helps to remove carbon dioxide from the body, so there's room for oxygen to enter into our body. Avalambaka kapha is correlated to the pericardial fluid, which is so important in reducing the friction created every time the heart beats. The pericardial fluid is basically the fluid that surrounds the heart, and it provides lubrication and cushioning. Avalambaka kapha is related to the heart chakra, and the spiritual and psychological activities related to the heart chakra, the anahata chakra, love, support, compassion, all of these things exist here in the heart and are related to Avalambaka kapha. So when we look at imbalances in Avalambaka kapha, we look at the heart region and we also look at the lungs. People who have imbalances in Avalambaka kapha may have suffered some kind of trauma. So there may be some heart palpitations, or I will tell you about a couple of clients that I have whose family members have committed suicide, and this created great trauma in their heart region. Avalambaka kapha, like all kaphas, has a sticky nature, and extreme trauma can hold memory or space in both the heart and in the lungs. So people who have experienced trauma or experienced somebody dying in front of them, or I have a couple of clients who have lost their mother through suicide. And this is an extreme form of trauma, and it's held in Avalambaka kapha, in the lungs. The sticky nature of kapha holds the memory of this trauma here. And this is the seat of kapha. They both suffered from asthmatic conditions. Other clients who I've had have had severe trauma in childhood, also held psychological and physical imbalances in their chest region. So both of these clients that I have who have had trauma in their childhood and who have lost family members who they love dearly often suffer from asthmatic conditions when they're in a stressful situation. This is a place of accumulation for them. People who have had a lot of emotional traumas or stress in their life will hold energetic and physical accumulations in Avalambaka kapha, in the heart and in the lung region. It's very important to process these emotions. Sometimes they're very deep-seated, but practices like meditation, pranayama, and again, mindfulness and taking Ayurvedic herbs can help to heal the lungs. So taking herbs like tulsi, which naturally open up the lungs and calm the nervous system, will also help to clear these memories out, especially when coupled with spiritual practices. I cannot stress enough how much we are integrated. We are mind, body, spirit. So when we have a physical imbalance that is caused by a spiritual or psychological or emotional trauma, we have to come back to the spirit and clear at the root cause of whatever the imbalance may have been caused by. And when we clear this root, then true healing happens. So for people who have an imbalance in Avalambaka kapha, who are suffering from asthma or heart palpitations or lung issues, we have to look at their relationship with their mother and reconnect these people to the great mother, to the mother of the universe. When we connect to the mother of the universe, true healing can happen, and these accumulations that we hold, the sticky nature of Avalambaka kapha holds, will slowly be released. Bodhika kapha is located in the mouth, in the tongue, and just the oral cavity. Bodhika kapha supports healthy salivary secretions, which is so important in digesting carbohydrates. It's the first place of digestion is the mouth, and it also helps to keep the oral cavity moist and clean. Dry mouth can cause tooth decay because bacteria is going to flourish in a dry mouth. And also too much Bodhika kapha that's unkept and unclean can also cause bacteria to overgrow because Bodhika kapha is naturally sweet in nature. Healthy saliva, on the other hand, supports healing. Have you ever cut your finger in the kitchen or with a paper cut? What's your first reaction? For me, my first reaction is stick the finger in my mouth. And I try to stop the bleeding with my saliva, with my mouth. And this is instinctual. If you look at animals, they lick their wounds too. Our saliva has wound healing properties, and this is a natural antibacterial solution, and it speeds up the healing process. It's a wound healer. So if you ever get cut, use Bodhika kapha to help stop the bleeding. And also a little bit of turmeric. If you just add a little bit of turmeric to your finger, if you have a cut, it will stop bleeding instantly. It's very important to maintain a clean oral cavity through brushing your teeth, through scraping your tongue, and also through oil pulling, which we're going to cover in great detail in the section on Ayurvedic daily practices. Bodhika kapha also supports the sense of taste, and it allows us to properly perceive what we are consuming. Our sense of taste is connected to our brain and our gut. There's almost an instantaneous message which goes from our mouths to our brain to our digestive tract. And it lets our body know what we are eating so that the body can properly adjust its stomach acids and secrete the right acids and solutions for this digestion and metabolism of whatever you eat. Digestion starts at the mouth. Bodhika kapha lubricates the vocal cords, and it supports communication and the singing voice. It makes sure the mouth and the vocal cords stay smooth, flowing, and functioning. And this is the kapha related to our throat chakra. Again, this is why it's connected to proper communication, clear communication. Bodhika kapha helps with this function. Tarpaka kapha is located in the brain and the cerebrospinal fluid. This kapha nourishes the brain cells, and it supports our memory, our intellect, our emotional well-being, and our higher mental faculties. This is the function of Tarpaka kapha. With practice of yoga and other spiritual disciplines, Tarpaka kapha can increase our contentment, our happiness, and our bliss. Deep-seated memories and psychological wounds are also held in Tarpaka kapha. Science actually shows that when we have ancestral traumas from the past, they can be passed down from generation to generation within the DNA. So if your family has gone through great trauma, we can hold that trauma in our Tarpaka kapha. Tarpaka kapha holds, nature of kapha holds these memories within our genes, and this is a function of Tarpaka kapha. Within Tarpaka kapha, there is also memory of our true spiritual nature, who we truly are. Living in the moment, staying connected to supreme bliss and spirit nourishes this Tarpaka kapha. It awakens you to the deeper wisdom that is held within us, within our DNA. And Tarpaka kapha also holds this deep, deep, deep spiritual wisdom that we are one with spirit. Imbalances in Tarpaka kapha are Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, forgetfulness, forgetting everything, confusion, depression, and feeling like you're not connected to anything or anyone. Shleshika kapha is located all over the body, but is concentrated in our joints. If you have joint issues, Shleshika kapha may be one of the reasons, or a lack of it. Joints are where two bones come together, and this cushioning or lubrication that's needed to allow for rotation and movement of our joints is due to Shleshika kapha. Without Shleshika kapha, it would be painful to make any movement of our bones of our joints because it would be bone on bone. There would be no cushion, no lubrication. Sleshika kapha is the cushion, the lubrication that allows us to have joint movement. With older age, overuse, or underuse, Sleshika kapha in our joints can become imbalanced, and this can lead to joint pain, to arthritis, to inflammation due to bone-on-bone grinding. And practices like yoga, tai chi, and other strong, slow fluid movements nourish kapha. And also maintaining a healthy diet, maintaining healthy digestive function, eating healthy fats. These healthy activities balance Sleshika kapha. The theory of the subdoshas is so important in more deeply understanding each of the doshas. I hope you can see that now. I hope you gained a deeper understanding and more comprehensive understanding and view of how these doshas function with different organ systems and tissues in the body. Oftentimes, when we have a dosha imbalance, they manifest in clusters of symptoms. And an example is kapha imbalance. You may see somebody with asthma or mucus buildup in the chest, which is going to be correlated to avalambika kapha and bodhika kapha in the mouth, and excess of kapha in the upper region. And you may also see a heavy mind, a sluggish digestive system, and swelling of the joint, which is associated with kledika kapha, thurpika kapha, and sleshika kapha. I hope you can now understand how these subdoshas function, and I hope this gives you an understanding of how these subdoshas may be influencing your life, your health, and your well-being. Look into your life and see how your body is functioning, how each of the subtypes of these doshas are functioning in your life. Take a quick evaluation of how these subtypes of doshas are functioning in your life. Look at thurpika kapha, look at sadhika pitta, look at avalambika kapha, look at bodhika kapha. How is your oral hygiene? How is the health of your teeth? How is ranjika pitta? How is the color of your skin? How is brajika pitta? How is the health of your skin? Take a look at how these subtypes of these doshas are functioning in your life. And as we dive deeper and journey into spirit, you're going to have a deeper understanding how to use foods, herbs, and lifestyles to balance these doshas, these subdoshas, and balance your life. Thank you so much. Until the next lesson. Namaste.